Hello and welcome to Mountain Valley Today. We're certainly glad you've tuned in to join us. And don't forget you can watch us anytime on Farmers Telephone TV Channel 6 and also WFPA 1400 AM. You can listen to us live. And today we have Mr. Ricky Harcrow. Mr. Harcrow, thank you so much for joining us.
Well, thank you, sir. Thank you for having me.
So tell us, you serve on the County Commission. So what is your role there?
Well, I serve as president of the county commission, and I have served as a commissioner too, but for the last 20 years I've served on the county commission and as president for 2 terms, and I preside over all the meetings. I set the agenda according to law, and I sign all the checks, and I even sweep out the place every once in a while.
So you're kind of like the buck stops here, is that where it comes right there?
The buck stops here, yes.
Well, tell us a little bit about how the county commission operates and all the different roles of the commissioners that serve on our commission, county commission.
We have a 4-man board, and they are elected from different districts in the county. The districts are mandated by federal law to be within 5% population-wise, and when the census changes, if one area grows a lot more than the other one, we may have to change or adjust those commission lines because of federal law. So they have to be within 5% of each one of them has to be in 5% of the other. So those 5 men are elected from those districts. I'm elected county at large, and we serve staggered terms. 2 commissioners are elected each election, and I'm elected every 4 years. And so at one election, 2 commissioners and myself will run, and then in another election, just 2 commissioners will run. And so these gentlemen have to approve general business for the county. They approve all the revenue enhancements that we have. We do not have the power or authority to raise taxes. We don't have that authority. That rests with the legislature. But our charge by law is that we are to distribute what funds the legislature allows us to have. And so therefore we have a limited amount of money to work with, and we have to make it go as far as we can. And by law we have to balance the budget every year, and every year we are audited to see if our books match up what our figures say they do. Mm-hmm. And thankfully, and I'm proud of the record, in all the years that I've been down there, we have received an unqualified audit at every audit, and that means that's the best you can do.
Well, that's great.
So we're proud of that record.
Well, now tell us how that you got involved in politics years ago, where you started and where you came from, and how you worked up to the level that you're at today.
The first office I ever held, and this goes a long way back, I was president of the student government at Plainview High School.
Really? Well, that's neat.
Yeah, Plainview High School. I was president of student government. That's the first elected office I ever had. Then I served on the city council at Ider. I was elected mayor. Then I ran for commissioner, served as commissioner 3 terms, and then I ran for president of the commission, and I've been serving there for the last 8 years. And so I kind of worked my way up through the ranks. I served as president of the Alabama County Commissioners Association. I served on that board for a number of years, and I have enjoyed working in that area statewide because it gives me a lot of knowledge of what goes on in the legislature.
Yes.
And the reason for that is everything we do and how we have to operate depends on the legislature. Mm-hmm. And we have to work closely with our legislators, and I just want to commend them for working so well with us. We couldn't have a better working relationship with our legislative delegation than we have, I don't think, and we're just very appreciative of what they do for us. But sometimes, they, like Mr. Ledbetter and everybody else that represents us, they're one man among 105.
Right.
Mr.
Right.
Livingston's one among 33 senators, so they're one person. But whatever they do in Montgomery, passing budgets or whatever it is, the laws that they pass, the revenues that come to us, we have to balance it out and we have to make it work.
Yes.
And so that's our responsibility. And I say that's difficult at times. It's more difficult now than it's ever been.
Yes.
There have been times in the last few years before the recession came along that we saw a good bit of light at the end of the tunnel. But today, as I speak today, I can tell you that money-wise, we're not back to where we were in 2009. That's not to say that we're broke or the county's in bad shape. We keep our county in the black, but we don't have any extra money to do a lot of things that we'd like to do. We do what we have to do,
Right.
and do what we can do. But because of just the revenue that we receive and the continual rising of cost of everything that we do, we're having a more difficult time today than we have in the last several years.
I think that's one thing you might want to explain to the people who are reviewing is, we talk a little bit about roads,
Yeah.
but that's a prime example of the cost of paving roads today as to the amount of money that you get coming in from the legislature. Well, you might want to speak about that.
When I started, we have 1,800 miles, 1,800 miles of county maintained road. And when I started, and remember these districts are not divided up in road miles, they're divided by population. That's federal law. And when I started, many years ago, it cost us somewhere around $3,000 to $3,200 to tar and gravel a road, an unpaved road. Today, it cost us about $30,000.
Oh my, that's
$30,000.
quite an increase.
Quite an increase, and our revenue structure hadn't changed. So that's where we are, and it's a difficult job, and we don't do what we'd like to in that situation, but we do what we have to do with the money that we have, and sooner or later, I don't know what all the answers are going to be, but sooner or later, we're going to have some more revenue dedicated to our infrastructure.
Yes.
And
yes.
we don't have the authority to do that, but we hope that our legislators will look at that and continually work with us on that, because our infrastructure and the system that we have in that area, we have to maintain that and keep improving that just to keep our economic policy in focus.
Yes.
Because when companies are looking at our area, they look at our schools. We've got good schools, and for the most part, our transportation system is good. But we have to show them all of it.
Yes.
We can't just show them Highway 35. We have to show them
A lot more roads than just 35.
lot more roads, and our people do as good a job as they can. But that's just how costs have escalated during that time. So.
Well, one thing that I want to say commend you on is I've been to the legislature a couple of times to lobby on certain issues, and I always seem to run into you down there. And I know that you're there lobbying, and one of the reasons we've been able to maintain our road system is through grants and things you've gotten at the state level. So you might want to talk about some of the things, the state dollars that have come into DeKalb County to help offset the amount of money coming in to work on roads.
When I was president of the County Commissioners Association, we got through the legislature a bill called the A-TRIP program, Alabama Transportation Rural Initiative Program. And as we did that, we were going to get about $11 million to do some roads that the state designated for us. We couldn't put the money anywhere that we want to. And so much of this money that we get, we can't use it anywhere we want to. It's
Right.
designated for
Certain places.
And so we have to do that. We have to maintain that. But anyway, through some lobbying efforts, we wound up with about $3 more million, up to almost $14 million. in that area. And we could have never hoped to have done some of the work that we have done had we not got that program through. It's been such an asset to us. And some people see that and they say, well, why couldn't you do that over here? Well, the state said we couldn't do it over here. We had to use it where we had to use it. And but we're thankful for that. We're thankful for that particular program. It's really helped us. And our legislators helped us get that through. And hopefully we're looking at doing an A-Trip too.
Okay.
Another program like that. But that's a slow process, and getting everybody on board, getting all of our delegation agreed on what needs to be done, how it needs to be done, where it needs to be done, and the process to get from point A to point B. And sometimes that's a slow process, but nevertheless we work to that end, and that kind of program has really set us apart. Mm-hmm. Now, when we talk about that, you take like maybe Jackson County. Jackson County maybe has 1,300 miles of roads. Marshall County, 1,000 or a little better. But there's only one county that even come close to us, and that's Coleman County.
Okay.
Coleman and Baldwin, for that matter, but Coleman County more especially in North Alabama, the only one in North Alabama. And so when we start allocating money, and we can only spend gas tax money on this. You see, your property tax doesn't go on the road.
Right.
None of it. Most of that goes to school systems and other entities that the law requires. But all we can spend is gas tax. And so, to tell you the truth, the cheaper gas gets, the less money we get. And
That's
true. Cars today are getting, probably 30% better gas mileage than they did 10 years ago. So that's cut us back on our gas tax funding. And so, there's just a lot of factors in that generally people don't understand. And to tell you the truth, I didn't know it all for a long time, but I found it out. And so we're constantly looking at that. We're constantly juggling things. We're constantly looking at ways to improve our rural transportation system and lives of our people we represent in general.
Well, that's one thing probably people don't understand is you can't raise revenue. You just take the pot of money somebody gives you.
Yes,
but
sir.
you might want to share with the folks all the entities that you guys are in charge of funding and making sure operate effectively.
Yes, sir. Well, of course, the law enforcement, sheriff's department, and that's always a costly item. But public safety is our first priority.
Yes.
We have to maintain our public safety program. And let me tell you, our local law enforcement, they do such a fantastic job. I wouldn't want their job.
Right.
I'm not. It takes special people to do those kind of things. And when they get out there and put their lives on the line and do all they do, and our volunteer firemen and people like that, and too, we passed a 3-meal tax that goes to our 23 volunteer fire department. Mm-hmm. That's divided up through the fire association. And were it not for these volunteer fire departments, I shudder to think where we would be. They do such a fantastic job, and all that's volunteer.
Yeah.
All that is volunteer, and you don't think about them much till you need them. And when you need them, I mean, they're right there. I know during like storms, ice storms, hurricanes, or tornadoes, where trees are blown across roads. Why, we could have never hoped to open them up, but our volunteer fire departments, rescue squads were right there to do all of that, and I just can't thank them enough. But they're funded through a 3-meal tax. Mm-hmm. And so we have law enforcement, road departments, our tax officials, our tax commissioner's office, numbers of things, probate offices and things like that now, like the circuit clerk's office, some of that receives state money,
Right.
coupled with ours. So anyway, everything figures into that picture somewhere.
Well, about how many people do the county employ as far as employees that you guys are over?
Somewhere in the neighborhood of about 225.
Okay.
About 225. That's for every office. Yes, sir.
Well, I never realized we had as many roads as we have, miles of road, compared to Jackson and Marshall County, I
Right,
believe we were
right.
talking about.
Mhm.
And so the same pot of dollars coming in, you got to go stretch it so much
Yes,
farther.
everybody's under that same structure. Yeah.
Well, and the other thing is, there's lots of times I'd like to go buy a brand new car or something, but if you don't have the money to write that check, you better not be buying that thing. So I guess you guys have to say no a few times when
That's
people are wanting something.
That's the hardest part of my job, is having to tell somebody no. It really is. And you don't like to do that. You want to help people, and we do as much as we can, but there are times that even though we'd like to, we can't. And so that's just where we are sometimes in those situations.
Well, I want to commend you because you guys seem to work so well together, as a commission. And I think it starts from the leader at the top. So I want to commend you on you guys seem to
Very
work
kind.
well. Would you like to talk about your working relationship with the other commissioners?
There is not a commission in the state that is well organized and gets along as well as we do. I know. I serve on the state board. I hear these war stories from everywhere else, 67 counties in the state. And when I was president of the County Commissioners Association, I told them, and I didn't have any opposition in that. I was elected without opposition. And I told them, I said, I want to visit every county. I want to come to every one of your county commission meetings one time while I'm in office. And I almost made that. I liked about 2 that I didn't get to. But I can tell you, when I got back and sat down in my chair, it was mighty soft after I saw some of the horrors that some of these guys went through, more especially the chairman of the county commission. And I just thank the Lord every day that I've got these 4 men to work with that are so conscientious about what they do, and they work so well with me, and we try to stay in contact. Communication's a big thing.
It is a key.
If they never did see me or I never did see them, other than just that twice a month that we meet, that would be a sad thing. But that's not the way it is. I communicate with them all the time, and I think that's one of the great keys. And it's not that we agree on everything. Don't
Right.
misunderstand me about that. But whatever minute problem we may have, we work that out, and we see that the best route possible is chosen, and that's what we do.
Well, and that's the thing. You guys are looking at a much bigger picture than maybe I would, or
Yes,
my
sir.
neighbor would, or someone in some other community. And so you guys are having to look out for their county as a whole.
We do.
And we appreciate you doing that. Even though we may have to call you a cat herder, to get them all together.
Yes.
But you seem to do an effective job of doing that. One thing I always like to ask people when they come on the show is to tell us a little bit about who you are that maybe people might not know. I know a little bit about you. I've met you several times, but there might be someone out there that knows the name, but they don't really know who Mr. Harcrow is. So maybe share a little bit about who you are and what you like to do. And
Well, I grew up right here in Rainsville. I went to school at Plainview, graduated at Plainview, left there, went to Northeast, and then transferred from there to Jacksonville. My mother and daddy grew up right in the same house, and I could see, we lived in the same house my mother did, and I could see where my daddy grew up. It was right down the road. So we've been in the general area, all my life, and all my folks are here. And after I transferred from Northeast to Jacksonville, I didn't finish at Jacksonville. I was offered a job at Tennessee Valley Authority, and so I felt like that was a good opportunity. So I went to work for Tennessee Valley Authority and worked with them until 1994. And I've pastored churches in the area for almost 50 years. And when I started pastoring churches back then, we just had church once a month on Saturday and Sunday. I served 4. One in DeKalb County, 2 in Marshall County, 1 in Jackson County, and still operate like that to some degree. But anyway, it's been the story of my life, you know. Lord's been mighty good to me. I'm married Miss Susan Rosser, and we've been married 44 years, soon will be. Have 2 children. Sarah, she's a teacher in the Lafayette, Georgia school system. Her and her husband live in Lafayette. They have also a car dealership there, Jenkins Chrysler Dodge, if y'all need
Just a little plug right there. Okay.
Call me and I'll refer you. Then I have 2 grandchildren, Gabby and Leah. And so they're really live wires. My son, Jackson, he graduated at Sylvania. And he and his wife, Leah, they live in Arab on a farm there. And he's a John Deere salesman. She's a nurse for the state. So I've been mightily blessed and to live here all my life, to grow up here, and even learn to play the banjo, you know.
Well, there you go. There you go.
I can stay busy. When I retire, if I ever do, I'm going to stay busy playing the banjo like Grandpa Jones. You know, I think I could.
I know who that is.
You know
I
who
know
that
who
is.
that is.
Yeah.
Well, you hadn't told them about the singing, the 4-note singing that you guys do. I've heard you do that. You've been to our church a few times.
Yeah.
And anybody that can be a politician and a preacher at the same time and still be married after 44 years, there's something that we all need to be looking at in this man right here.
Well, you know, ask my wife about that a little bit. Anyway, yeah, I was raised to sing out of the Sacred Heart. 4-note, some people call it. We sang for the movie Cold Mountain.
I remember that.
Yeah.
I remember that. That's really neat. Was that a neat experience?
It was. You know, they carried us to the premiere and the Academy Awards. You know,
Wow.
And so that was quite an experience in itself, and that made a lot of people aware of what we do that never heard of it any other way.
Right.
And so when you see that movie, which I didn't think much of the movie, to tell you the truth, I didn't like it very much. Of course, they taped us singing 3 years before the movie was made.
Okay.
And so we didn't know anything about the movie, but when we saw the movie, it was quite different from what we thought it would be. Because some of us hadn't been to a movie in 25 years, and we were shocked at some of the things we saw. But anyway, the singing was good.
There you go.
The singing was good. And
But
so,
you know, Hollywood, they just have a little, what do you call it, creative expression there. But at least you were able to share the gospel through song, and I think that's really important.
Well, we did that. Yes, sir, we did. And, you know, I've taught singing schools in 4 or 5 states, and I've got to the age I can't do that like I used to, but that's just been such a part of my life, all my life, and as long as I'm able to do that, I will.
Well, we certainly are appreciative of all that you do. And as we're getting close to the end of our session today, I'd like for you to tell us what you see as some goals or challenges as we move further in the future for DeKalb County. One thing that I'd like for you to hit on is tourism, because I think that we have a hidden gem right here in DeKalb County.
I was director of the DeKalb County Tourist Association at one time, and of course that's been a lot of years ago, but let me tell you, a lot of our general revenue comes from tourism. Living our Fort Payne and everything being on Interstate 59 like it is, splitting our county almost in half. Mentone, Lookout Mountain, Little River Canyon, High Falls. You know, we're building a new center at High Falls. It'll soon be done.
Okay.
And for family reunion, it'll be such a nice facility down there. And the board down there, coupled with us, we're completing that, and they do such a great job down there. And like you say, those are some hidden gems that
Mm-hmm.
we don't think much about. We'll leave and go somewhere else, and folks
Isn't that
wonder why
crazy?
we leave.
Yeah, yeah.
Because we have so much here. But some of the issues facing us in the future, literally, is going to be funding for these projects. And like I told you in the beginning, you know, the expenses we have keep going up, and our revenue doesn't match it. So we're going to have to, you know, correct some of that if we can, do what we have to do. And I want to run one more time. If my health stays good enough, I want to run one more time. There's some things that I'd like to see completed that we've got done. We've got some economic interests that we want to continue to enhance and lay the groundwork. You know, we can wonder why we don't get a lot of things, but so many times we have to plan 7, 8 years ahead.
Yes.
You know,
Yes.
to lay out the plan, to get the infrastructure in place, and then when a company comes and they look at us every day, and our Economic Development Authority does a great job, and we don't get everything we want, but we're out there.
Yeah.
And we work with them closely. So that's one of the things that I want to continue doing in a great way. And I'll tell you, that's a battle because it's so competitive now. You take like Madison County, who has so much more to offer in incentives than we do. It's hard for us to compete with them. But anyway, you fight that fight every day, and that's just some of the things that we looking at and want to continue to put forward. And this county commission that we have now, I would put them against anybody anywhere in doing what needs to be done in that area. They're always willing to do that, whatever it takes.
Well, I don't think people realize how important the interstate running through the middle of our county really is. It connects us with Atlanta, Birmingham, Chattanooga, which makes us very viable, I think, for businesses that might be looking to our area.
Right.
Well, Mr. Harcrow, we're so thankful that you've come to join us today, and I appreciate what you stand for and your character, and I hope you will continue to serve and lead our cats down at the commission office. There's a few guys that's meant straightforward.
I understand, yeah.
And we appreciate you watching us on Mountain Valley today. And don't forget, you can watch any episode at mountainvalleynewspaper.com. We're also on Farmers Telephone TV Channel 6 and WFPA 1400 in Fort Payne. Thank you so much.